Lots of fans are growing suspicious of Jimmy Uso, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out a big rumor for Bray Wyatt's legacy that's going around, and much more. Let's start things off with the latest story developments between Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns. Roman and Jimmy linking back up with each other is a story that was on the hot seat and criticized by fans since Jimmy literally led a stand against Roman just this past spring. So many fans had an issue with how he wanted to be back to Roman, and they were pointing out the logical flaws. But as the weeks go by and we see more from the story, then the more we can put the pieces together and see what's going on here. It's still extremely early to tell what exactly is the relationship status between Roman and Jimmy, but as of this moment, it's possible that maybe they don't like each other to the level that they once did back in the original days of the Bloodline. But they're putting their differences to the side and working with each other because they both need each other, and they are both in pretty desperate spots right now. Roman Reigns is a character that loves being in control and loves having the power over people, but as we saw unfold in 2023, his whole faction came crashing down in a hurry. He lost Sami Zayn, the Usos, and even Solo Sikoa started acting strange towards him as well. So Roman went from being backed by 4 other individuals to potentially being on his own. So maybe that's why he did jump on the opportunity to bring Jimmy back into the Bloodline, because he's in a bad spot right now and desperately needs depth in the Bloodline. Having Solo and Jimmy is obviously better than just having only Solo by his side. So maybe that's why Roman hasn't been so quick to kick Jimmy back out, even after everything he did to him back in the spring. And for Jimmy Uso, it's a similar situation. Jimmy hated Roman so much that he did take charge and force his brother Jey Uso to follow him and leave Roman's side and end this abuse that was happening to them. And then Jimmy returns and he sees that his brother is also going down the same route of becoming a new version of Roman Reigns, which is the kind of individual they both hate the most. So Jimmy screwed Jey out of the title so that Jey wouldn't become mad with power and basically turn into Roman Reigns. Jimmy thought that Jey would understand that and that they would go back to being a tag team after SummerSlam. That was Jimmy's one and only plan post SummerSlam. But to his surprise, Jey wanted nothing to do with him and left. And it seems like Jimmy wasn't really expecting Jey to make that move, so it left Jimmy feeling a bit lost. Like he didn't know what to do without his brother, which explains why he decided to swallow his pride and crawl back into Roman's lap in the Bloodline. So that's what's making fans think that something isn't genuine here between Roman and Jimmy, that they're both using each other for similar reasons, and that it'll ultimately lead to another disastrous moment. The other big change in recent weeks has obviously been Jimmy Uso's character. You can argue that during the peak of the Bloodline, Jimmy was probably the member that was featured the least out of all the members. You had Roman at the top with Paul Heyman, followed with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and then Jimmy Uso. So even though he was always there, Jimmy didn't really get much time to be heavily featured and express himself. And now that's all changing. We're getting lots of personality from Jimmy's character and seeing this whole new persona and attitude. Jimmy is still his serious self in the ring, but especially during conversations with Roman Reigns, he doesn't seem to be taking things serious and cracks jokes at Roman with every other line he says to him. Just like the October 27th edition of SmackDown, where Jimmy comes into the Bloodline's locker room a bit banged up after being put through a table by LA Knight. Roman and Jimmy continue their football talk and references, with Roman telling Jimmy that he ran the wrong play, and Jimmy responded with a smile on his face and said that he made a hot route and audible adjustment to Roman's play call. And when Roman tells Jimmy that he has to take care of LA Knight tonight, Jimmy says that he's on the injured reserve list, before shortly taking it back and saying that he's off the injured list and ready to go. So Jimmy's new character is definitely funny and entertaining, but you also gotta wonder if Jimmy has also his own secret agenda that he's working on here. As far as we know, Jimmy Uso's character hasn't suffered from memory loss of any kind, so Jimmy should still feel the same way he felt about Roman during the Civil War, and all those same emotions just have to be in there somewhere. And considering how Jimmy is technically by his side, but not ever taking anything that serious anymore during his conversations with Roman, it has fans wondering if Jimmy is really messing with Roman, and if everything he's doing right now is all part of a bigger plan that he has in store. When Roman was away, it was pretty clear that being the tribal chief was something that Jimmy was most definitely interested in. So does Jimmy still hate Roman Reigns, but is using some manipulation tactics of his own to play the long game and eventually get himself that tribal chief position? It definitely seems like a possibility, and it would be such a great arc for Jimmy to go through. To go from being this sort of forgotten background member of the Bloodline all the way to contesting for the tribal chief position would be a great journey to watch unfold. So that could be Jimmy's plan, while Roman's plan could simply be to just use Jimmy as an extra manpower to use to his own advantage during rough spots against opponents. Another theory fans are throwing around is that we could potentially see Jimmy Uso's true colors during one of Roman's title defenses down the line. Maybe Jimmy's out there to try and help Roman retain the title as usual, but maybe tries to sabotage Roman's title reign with one of his classic hot route adjustments that we've been seeing him make over the last few weeks. So Roman and Jimmy may be both using each other right now, but it seems like a lot is still coming there with that story. Some big rumors are already starting to go around regarding next year's WWE 2K24 video game. Each game usually releases with one special showcase mode that truly takes a deep look back at a superstar's career and lets you live those moments over again by playing through those big career matches. Last year's showcase mode featured John Cena's entire career, from start to current day. Well, the rumor right now for the next superstar to be featured in his career showcase mode is Bray Wyatt. The rumor going around is that 2K24 could end up being dedicated to Bray Wyatt's WWE career, with a special career showcase mode, taking us through his iconic career from his Wyatt family days to his Fiend days, all the way up to his Uncle Howdy days. There's no solid confirmation on that mode at all, but it's a pretty solid rumor that does seem like it'll be such a nice gesture for the showcase mode, and something that fans would really be able to enjoy by going back through all of Bray's career highlights. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.